What's up, everybody? It's Politi-tics night, Saturday night. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and tonight we're going to talk about Cybertrucks and Ryder trucks, Green Berets and Tim McVeighs, and drones and UAPs, and anything else you want to talk about. So come on in, take your shoes off. It's going to be crazy, conspiracy-filled, wild copiism. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. Linda, you're first in chat. You get the gold star. Hi, how are you, everybody? Amanda says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Dang, it's cold, 28 degrees. Whew. Stay warm, everybody. Hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Cold and conspiratorially minded. Yes, that's me. Linda says, good evening, all. Hi, Linda. How are you? Here's your gold star. And Amanda says, hi. And Alibo says, hi. Hello, Alibo. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where you from? What kind of craziness are you into? Linda says, hi, Amanda and Jake. Hello. How are you? And Amanda says, hi, Alibo. Welcome. Welcome to the show. The show about everything. The show about you. It's like Seinfeld, only not as funny. Anyway, tonight's episode is brought to you by this here hot cup of coffee. Don't you want to have a cup with me and talk about weird stuff, political stuff, weird political stuff? If so, get yourself a hot cup and let's talk about it. If you don't have a cup, though, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic. Also, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little love my way. I appreciate that very much. Also, hit that CashApp, $JakeJohnsonBand. Come on in, newcomers. How are you? Max Games YT says hi. Hi, Max Games. Who are you? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Stefano? Well, I don't know. You tell me. No party like a dirt party, right? I don't know what you're talking about. Welcome. Patty Donahue's here. Hello. Hi, Patty. Good to see you. Max says hi. Hi, Max. Who Stefano says, is Bruno Mars in debt? I don't know. Do I look like the kind of guy that would know what Bruno Mars is up to these days? I digress. Cosmo, howdy. Good to see you, my brother from another mother, or cousin, as it were. Amanda says, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available. Also, Cash App at $JakeJohnsonBand or PayPal.me/JakeJohnsonBand if you're that kind of fella. I do appreciate you. Amanda says, hi, Patty and Cosmo. And hi, Patty and Cosmo. Good to see you. Max says, I'm from Arizona and I'm 8. Wow, you're in the wrong place, Max. You know the little thing that says not for children? I would recommend you heed that warning because it's going to get saucy tonight, but you're welcome to stay if you can handle it. If you got the mind for it, I'm with you. Come on in. Who Stefano says, yes, yes. The mustache is tingling. I'm ready to go. And Amanda says, welcome, Max. Patty says, hi, Amanda. Alibo says, I have to go. Bye. I'm a new sub. Well, come on in, Alibo. I appreciate you. Sub away. I'll take it. You will find things here that you've never heard anywhere else, probably. Amanda says, welcome. Who's welcome? Who's Stefano's welcome? Max Game says, oh, okay. Well, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but, you know, if you can handle it, you're welcome. I still see the shadows in my room, and I don't know if to love or hate you, says who Stefano. Well, you can hate me all you want. That's fine. Or you can love me. Either way, my mustache will not take offense. 321 says Stefano. No party like a Diddy party. Oh, Diddy party. Well, you wrote dirt the first time, so I didn't understand your joke. But this is the wrong place for that kind of talk. If it's going where I think it's going to go. You being of a younger persuasion, I would imagine it's going to go that way. So we'll see. My bar, says who Stefano. Your bar. Whose bar? There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm going to leave it alone. Oh, it's a typo. You're bad. Gotcha. Understood. All right. So Walter Davis is here. Hey, Walter. Good to see you. He says, good evening, everybody. I'm driving and listening. Well, that's better than driving and crying or driving and drinking. Don't do that. And if you do, watch for the bumps. Amanda says hi, by the way. There's some weird stuff going on in the world today. There has been a Cybertruck blow up outside the Vegas Trump Tower, and some weirdness ensued beyond that. There was a Chevrolet F-150, which barreled through a crowd in New Orleans on Bourbon Street and killed 15 people, and there's some weirdness behind that. And it turns out that both of those things might be connected, considering that both guys were of the same military place, Fort Bragg, and both guys rented the trucks at the same types of places. So I've heard. This is all allegory. I don't know for sure. I can't back any of it up. And other weirdness. So I would caution you when listening to the news to understand that everything that you hear on the news is peppered with bullshit. So pay attention, listen closely, and understand that everything is not always what it seems like it is. And if you understand that going in, you might actually come out on the other side of everything with a little truth in your pocket. Some of these things have been prescribed years earlier. People have talked about things like this, and then all of a sudden they happen. It's weird how that happens, right? Also, if you go back to, say, the Oklahoma bombing and read the facts, the talking points about all of that they've discovered throughout the years, you will find it strikingly similar to the same thing that's happening now. Or, go back to the, Matthew Crooks a couple of months back, took a shot at the president-to-be. A lot of weirdness there. It seems like the FBI and the CIA and the Homeland Security and all other, the Secret Service and all other alphabet agencies are not in line with themselves in some cases. Sometimes you see certain things happen, and sometimes the opposite of that happens, and you wonder why. For example, a couple of hours after the explosion, the dude's house was opened up for the media to go into. So anybody could have just walked right on in and filmed, and they found stuff there. And then some letters were leaked on the internet, and some emails were sent to some people. I recommend strongly you watch episode 155 of The Sean Ryan Show. You will find out some very interesting propaganda happening on that show. That's The Sean Ryan Show, episode 155. Check it out. And you will see immediately that something is amiss. And when you figure out that the something amiss is on purpose, kind of makes you wonder what's really going on. Cosmo says, hi, Walter. And Amanda says, I prefer driving and, well, never mind. LOL. You dirty girl. John says, hello, everybody. How is everyone? We got snow, freaky weather. Sunny yesterday. John, welcome. Come on in. And Lebo, thank you for the subscription. Amanda says, hi, John. And no snow yet here. Well, that remains to be seen because it's snowing everywhere else. It might come here too. We'll see. Patty says, where's the snow? Not here. John says, it's in Britain, though. Christine Marshall, hello. Christine says, the Richter scale picked up 2 bombs at the Oklahoma City bombing, going along with most people saying that they heard 2 bombs. This is a fact. Dick Gregory exposed it before he died. There were actually 3 bombs that they found and disarmed, supposedly, after the big one that went off. And yes, there was a second bomb that supposedly went off. And also, there was a second person who was there and then mysteriously not there, and they seem to have lost the footage of the second guy. And all they have is footage of the one guy. And also, the FBI was housing Ryder trucks in their facilities the weeks prior to that. And there were other things going on, too. Just go look at the facts. Go look at what they've discovered over the years, considering the Oklahoma bombing, and then just compare it to the stuff you're seeing today. And it reads, if you read it all, it reads like a handbook. This is how you do one of these things. A false flag attempt. I don't know if it is or not. Obviously, I have no insight or background information to back up my claims. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just telling you from my perspective, it kind of looks hooey. It stinks. It doesn't pass the smell test. There's something wrong with the neighborhood. Why? How is it related to the drones that have been spotted all over the East Coast, you might ask. Well, watch the Sean Ryan show and you'll see that they are mentioned. And the guy says the same thing I said a couple weeks back, that they're probably from China. Probably is looking more and more probable. Kind of makes you wonder. Amanda says, hi, Christine. Christine says, hey, y'all. Cosmo says, Jake, have you seen the Sarah Adams interview? I have not. Who's Sarah Adams? Christine says, hi, Amanda. It's me, says, why does this chat remind me of the event of Waco, Texas? I don't know. Interesting. Hi, it's me. I don't know, because I'm not claiming to be Christ or related to him in any way. I also don't want to bang your wife, so that's not happening. And I don't own any large caliber weapons, so. And there's not a tank kicking in my front door blowing fire into my house. So Waco, Texas, I don't even think Janet Reno's still alive. But Waco was an interesting DEA extravaganza, which they should not have been a military force, but they seemed to be that day. And not the DEA, the tobacco and firearms people. What do they call? Amanda says, hi, it's me. It's me says, hey, Amanda. Christine says, they never televised any type of inside scoop on anybody's house, like a crib style, like walkthrough. This is ridiculous. Everything is all by design. I agree, 100%. And this is just hours after the guy was supposedly killed in his own explosion. Interesting. Lloyd Christmas is back getting banned already. Lloyd, what did I tell you last night? Amanda says, Lloyd, hi, and don't start that tonight. I will boot you. Dylan Smith is back and sent a thumbs up for 10 joules. Thank you. I still don't know what that means. I prefer super chats. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Amanda says, hi, Dylan. And Matthew Klein says, dur. I don't know shit. I don't know why I'm even on here. Well, I don't either, Matthew. I recommend you get an education and figure that one out. Cosmo says, I promise that her boots hurt. Steel-toed. I'll check her out. I don't know who it is, but I'll check it. Are you talking about Amanda's boots? Yeah, they are steel-toed and they do hurt. Christine says, wow, right? Amanda says, hi, Matthew, welcome. And Patty says, he's a Ruffin family member from Waco. Maybe. Amanda says, LOL, Cosmo, right? And Cosmo says, CIA, Sean Ryan, episode 149, must listen. Well, I'm telling people to listen to 155 of the Sean Ryan show, and I have looked at those. It's a must-see for 149, so apparently 149 has to do with it also. So check out from like 148 to 160, or however many he's got. You won't be disappointed in the thought process that ensues from watching those shows. Amanda says, I got spurs too, Cosmo. Really? I didn't know that. Guess what we're doing tonight? Amanda says, the ATF. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Christine says, I know that guy said they came from China, but I swear to God, I seen the same thing over Twin Lake, Michigan over 10 years ago in the L3 communications testing area, and they have tanks also. I said it before. Well, listen. I said that the drones that people are seeing in the East Coast right now are more than likely from China, and this guy concurs. However, if you'll go back and watch that episode that I told you about, the Sean Ryan Show, episode 155, he makes an omission that it's the U.S. and China that are the only people that have this technology, which means we have it too. Interesting. Might even be that we developed it. I don't know. And by we, I mean them, because I don't have anything to do with it. Fab Daddy, what's up, buddy? He says, I'm not feeling great that I'm a veteran from Fort Bragg like the bomber in Texas dude. I know. Well, if you are a veteran from Fort Bragg, can you give us any insight into why those two may have had something to do with each other? Is there any kind of program going on there, or any kind of special forces or Green Beret type stuff where people might be doing false flag operations out of Fort Bragg? Because that seems a little bit small worldy for my taste. Both on the same day, both the same outfit, militarily speaking, both rented trucks from the same place, or the same company, rather. Interesting. Both doing dastardly things on January 1st. Amanda says, hi, Fab Daddy. And Christine says, stay strong. I'm trying. You ain't leaving already, are you? Lloyd says, you look like Brad Pitt. You're so dreamy. Well, thank you. I don't, but thank you. It's Me says, being cynical of anything in Washington, the world's a stage. I agree, It's Me. The world is a stage, and most of it is a put on. I don't know why. I haven't come to that conclusion yet, but I have come to the conclusion that everything, and I do mean everything, is bullshit. I'm going to write a book about it one day as soon as I get all my thoughts in order, and as soon as I can articulate that statement a little clearer, because it is a little bit out there. But I assure you, everything you think is true is not. Episode 149 is Sarah Adams. Well, I'll look into it. I still don't know who that is, but I'll still look into it. Amanda says, LOL, Jake, spurs, saddle, and a set of jumper cables. Don't forget the motor oil. I'm going all in. Fab Daddy says, it's one of those weird knowledge dinkies. Coinky dinkies. Oh, it's a coinky dink. You think so? You think it's a coincidence? I don't think it is. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe everything happens from an intention, and sometimes those things cross over, and that's where we get the idea of a coincidence. However, all coincidences involve people or things that move. So it's not a coincidence. Amanda says, well, in that case, chaps too. I got chaps. Cosmo says, I told you she's CIA and you're missing some of my chats. I don't think I am. I think I read them all. Let me scroll back up and see what I missed. I think you might be missing some of my dialogue, because up here, from the very first question, hey, Jake, have you seen the Sarah Adams interview? And I said, no. I don't know who that is. And then you said, Sean Ryan, episode 149, a must listen. And then you said, I said 155, but I'll check out 149. And then you said, 149 is Sarah Adams. And I told you she's CIA, you're missing some of my chats. But I didn't. So if I'm missing them, they didn't come through, which YouTube has done. So I would recommend that you retype it in a different way if I didn't read it, because I'm not doing that on purpose. Amanda says, no, Cosmo, YouTube is not letting them post, and I don't see them. Lord Christmas says, don't make fun of Texas. Nobody's making fun of Texas. We're carrying the rest of you 49ers. I don't think so. And we're the only and real state. We're most important and most relevant. Well, everybody thinks Texas is the biggest thing in the world, and everything's bigger in Texas. So I don't behoove you for believing that, but it's not true. The state that I'm in, for example, does quite well on its own. Bill says, hi, y'all. Have you seen the Sean Ryan podcast about Las Vegas bomber? Yes, and we talked about it earlier. Hey, Bill. Fab Daddy says, Cosmo content is shadow banned. Oh, that's not good. You've been saying some dirty things on YouTube there, Cosmo? Christine says, nope, I'm here for at least an hour. Excellent. Thank you, sir. It's Me says, didn't Trump say in his campaign that he would get the hostages released before he takes office? He did say that. Amanda says, hi, Bill. Cosmo says, it didn't come through. Well, if it didn't come through, please rewrite it. and, space out the letters or something. Writing code. Lord Christmas gives a smiley face, and Cosmo says, well, if it won't let me tell you, then you'll just have to listen to the episode entirely. I will. I'll check it out. Why shadow ban, and what is it? Well, shadow banning is when they secretly stop you from posting or being seen by people. I've been shadow banned. I've been in YouTube jail a few times. And that's where they quit putting my videos out. They still let them come out, just nobody sees them. And so that, views stay at one number. Like tonight, we've got like 101 new people watching. Well, at least 90 new people watching. Most nights, no new people watching. And it's because I talk about things that are true, and they don't like that. Bill Bennett says, howdy, guys. What's up, Bill? It's me says, what if Trump doesn't? Well, his intention is to do so. He may not be successful at that intention, but that doesn't mean anything. That just means that things are harder to get done than they are to say they are. I mean, it's easier said than done. That's what that means. Fab Daddy says, if you believe everything a politician says during a campaign, I feel sorry for you. Well, most politicians do say things that are hyperbolic during a campaign because they're trying to win votes. So they're trying to get to everybody that would give them a vote. And then they go about the business of actually running things, which is a little bit more complicated. So, yeah, I understand that. Amanda says, they block certain posts and comments. Yep, It's Me's had a few blocked also. And a few other people have. I've noticed this event a few times in my shows. Amanda says, hi, Bill 2 and Bill 1. Lloyd says, the 49 states are like Texas's girlfriends. You 49ers need to be feeding us and doing our laundry. Well, you need to be slinging the big D then, buddy. You understand what I'm saying to you? You want to talk in that vernacular? If you're the boyfriend of the 49ers, then you need to get your ass out and get a job and start slinging the big D so that we're satisfied enough to do your laundry. You understand? Because mama don't play that shit. You gonna come at me, you better have something for me. Make me barefooting in the kitchen. I'll tell you something, boy. I'm sorry. I got carried away with that. Fat Daddy says, yes, Trump is a politician. Nobody said he wasn't. Amanda says, if you think that's all a girlfriend is good for, then you got serious issues, Lloyd. Right on. Christine says, since Trump won, they have still been full steam ahead against him. The most corrupt, peaceful transition of power in American history. I agree with that. By the way, if you guys hadn't been to the Facebook page, go check it out. It's facebook.com/UntetheredLive family. It's a great place to keep up with everybody, keep up with all things Untethered Live Universe, and share videos, pictures, and text with one another, and do all of that outside of the show at facebook.com/UntetheredLive family, all one word. Go check it out, and I appreciate you. It's Me says, if Trump doesn't, it means he lied. If he does, I'll put on a MAGA hat. Well, no, it does not mean he lied. It means that he intends to do that, but it may be harder than he thinks it is to get it done. They may not even still be alive. How does that make him a liar? Because he tries. That doesn't mean he'll succeed. Just like back in the day, and all the Democrats like to point this out. Well, Trump said he was going to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it. And he didn't do it. Well, he did do it. He did put tariffs on Mexico. He did have Mexico provide military for the wall. And he did build a large portion of it. He did not complete it. And it wasn't as black and white as they forked over the money for it. But he did do what he said he was going to do. It just didn't work out as quickly or as completely as he made it sound. But he did try. He did something, which is more than everybody else did. Lloyd says, smiley face. Cosmo says, no free speech on social media for sure. True. We have carefully crafted speech. You can get away with it as long as they don't disagree with it. If they disagree with it, you can't say it. Amanda says, that part, Jake. Right on. Lloyd says, Lamau, smiley face. Fab Daddy says, better bring on the bacon. That's right. If you want me to cook your dinner, you need to bring home some bacon for me to cook. That's right. Lloyd says, you're good. I like how you roll with my jokes. Well, thank you, Lloyd. That's my job. It's to entertain you and keep you thinking. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm trying to do. John H. says, yes, Jake. Go for it. Pure fire. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cosmo says, he wasn't a politician, and he is not a deep state politician for sure. He has already been president once. So if he so what if he's a politician? Dana says, hey, Dana, Trump says many things, not smart greetings. I disagree. Trump is a billionaire. He is a very successful businessman. He's got a great family. That doesn't sound stupid to me. That sounds like a man that knows what he's doing. It also sounds like a man that takes chances, and it also sounds like a man who knows how to negotiate a deal. That being said, Donald Trump is not the person that everybody will like. He's not that guy. I'm not that guy, so how can you like me and dislike him? I don't particularly like Donald Trump as a person, but I don't need to like him for him to run my country. What I need him to do is do a good job at running my country and address the issues that people like me are worried about, or people like you if you're in this country. And I understand that he doesn't come off as a very intelligent person, but think about who you're talking about. Think about what he's actually done in this world. He turned $1 million into $2 billion or $4 billion, whatever it ended up being. Billion with a B. The difference between $1 million and $1 billion is crazy. But hello, how are you? And how's the new year treating you, Dana? Cosmo says, of course, that was supposed to say. Right on. Amanda says, hi, Dana Hun, heart. And Dana says, hi, Amanda, heart. Fab Daddy says, my neighbor's cat must be in heat. Every night this week sounds like babies crying. Oh, yeah. That's what they do when they're in heat. They call, meow a lot. Bill says, holy moly, Jake, but what do I know? I'm a Seahawks fan. I bet you know some stuff. Cosmo says, and Biden is trying to sell the wall, Lamau, for pennies on the dollar, which should be illegal. Christine says, and to be honest, Trump said if they don't get the hostages back by the time he is inaugurated, they're going to have hell to pay when it comes to Trump. He's batting 100. Well, this is also true, and he didn't say he would have them back. He said they better be back. So he'd make that clarification. And when it's all said and done, says Christine, Trump's batting 100. Well, Trump did almost everything he claimed he was going to do the first time he was president, except for the things that were obvious that he couldn't do because the whole world was against him. Kind of hard to make things happen when everybody is against you. It's not to say he didn't try. Fab Daddy says, I'm going to throw a shoe at it. Lloyd says, I'll probably personally be helping finish that wall. Well, that'd be nice. Billionaires are crooks. I don't disagree with that, Dana. Every single one of them, nothing new under the sun, nothing to admire. Well, I don't admire him because he's a billionaire. I just said he was one. And I agree with you. If you've listened to me talk for any length of time, you've heard me say that there is no way to get rich without doing something crooked to get there. The world isn't designed to make you rich. The only way to jump over that hurdle if you weren't born into it is to do something dastardly to get to it. That there is, I mean, it's like you'd be better off winning the lottery while being struck by lightning in a plane crash than to get rich because you worked hard. Fab Daddy says Elon used his satellites to change the vote. Oh, really? Do you have any proof of that? I don't believe so. If by that you mean that he gave people that were in the hurricane internet, then yes. Amanda says, what, Fab Daddy? Christine says, thank God Donald Trump says a lot of things. More on the table. Name one thing that Donald Trump didn't do that he promised he would do. That's a good question. I'm not against Trump, so I don't answer that question. Bill says, I'm glad they voted Mike Johnson in, so we didn't have to wait weeks for a new speaker. I don't know about Mike Johnson. I've heard both good and bad things about him. I don't know enough about him to form an opinion, so I'm going to leave that one alone. It's Me says, I'll just pray, believe in the blood on the tree. He lived, died, and the resurrection of God, man, Jesus Christ. I hear you. That's all you can do, It's Me, is pray and hope for the best. The one thing we know about the world we live in is it's a fallen world. It is in a fallen state, which means no matter where you look, corruption and badness is happening. And it's just, that's the way it is. So the best thing to do is to pray and to hope for the best and to do your part to try and bring the world back to sanity. And Lloyd says, send those cats to Springfield, Ohio. The Haitians will adopt them and give them a proper home and care. I bet they would, right on the dinner table. Christine says, yep. It's a crazy world we live in. There's a lot of weirdness going on. And every day it gets weirder and more upside down. And there's very little hope that it's going to turn back around. And even if it does, you got to know that's the calm before the storm. You got to know that it's only a small reprieve before it gets really bad, because if you read the Bible, the end of it is pretty rough. But then it gets better. Fab Daddy says, I'm glad Senator Thune became the majority leader. I dislike Turtlehead. I don't know who Senator Thune is. I haven't heard that guy speak yet. But I'm assuming you mean Mitch McConnell by Turtlehead. It's Me says our commission is to Terry. I'll continue that. Dana says, I will be shocked if there will be such a thing as an inauguration on January 20th. Well, I fully expect there to be one. It may not be a peaceful one, but I expect it to happen. And if you want proof that it might, just notice how all of the people who were vapidly against Donald Trump for the last 4 years, all of the people who have been propagating this Russia hoax and all the other nonsense that was all over the place, look at how many of them are now kissing the ring and capitulating. And if you go on YouTube, you'll notice these little blue marks that usually say something like, I'm paraphrasing here, but whatever's in this video is bullcrap. Check this Wikipedia site out to see what the truth is. Now those blue boxers are saying that the Electoral College has called President Trump president-elect, basically. So even YouTube is capitulating a little bit. So that's proof that something is happening. McConnell is done, says Fab Daddy. Good. Glad that guy's out of there. I didn't like that guy at all. I think he's a rhino, which is a Republican in name only if you're not keeping up. What is ND? North Dakota. Got it. I believe Thune is from North Dakota. Okay. I've been to North Dakota. Christine says, I still totally believe that Donald Trump will be sworn in on March 4th as the 17th President of the United States of America. Your numbers have gotten crazy there, Christine. I think it's 47th and January 20th. But it could be March 4th. We'll see. It's Me says we are able to help the sick, homeless, and shut-ins. Yeah. Yes, we are. And Dana says the Trump obsession, the cult of personality, makes me feel very uncomfortable. Well, it would. You're not from America, so you don't have anything invested in what's going on here other than just keeping up with it. That's all right. You're entitled to that opinion. I don't see it as an obsession on my part. I mean, I don't like, walk around with a MAGA hat or anything. Lloyd says, if Tulsi runs in 2028, I'm going to vote for her. She thinks all right. She's fire, if you know what I mean. I do, and I would vote for her, too. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I like what she stands for. And she was a Democrat, and that'll tell you where I stand. SpaceX launched 7 times on the 10th. Okay. You know how many of those satellites are up there? Super heavy, Fab Daddy says. And also, they're trying to figure out how to successfully launch and land rockets, which, in case you have never played with pencils, is difficult to land a long cylindrical thing upright in a windy environment. It's not very easy to do. In fact, one might consider that silly. But that's what they're doing, so I would imagine it's going to take a little practice. That being said, I have no idea what they're doing at SpaceX because I'm not involved in that. Christine says, no one is obsessed with Donald Trump. You think that's so, but the fact is people are obsessed with the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights. They want their country back. I can agree with that, but I can also understand from the outside looking in how that is a scary proposition for the rest of the world and not seeing all the nuance that goes with it. You'd have to be here to appreciate what those things mean. Entirely. Cosmo says, the radical liberal obsession makes me nervous. Agreed. Yeah, their obsession is way worse than ours, if we are in fact obsessed. Christine says, yep, people used to be sworn in on March 4th, and General Flynn and Linwood both said he'd be sworn in on March 4th as the 17th president, all after he was president. Mike Flynn was asked about it. Okay, well, Mike Flynn must have misspoke. Or maybe there's a shadow government, and Donald Trump is really going to be the secret president of the shadow government. I don't know. I know that from my perspective, which is a layman who has recently dipped his toes into politics, I'm aware that there's more going on than what's being presented on the surface, but I don't know what that is. So I can't, all I can do is go with the narrative and talk about what the narrative says. I am aware that it's a narrative. I am aware that they're practicing wizardry on us and that everything said is some form of propaganda from one side or the other. But I can't do anything about that, and I can't call out what the truth is of the matter because I don't know. Because I'm not involved in politics. I just talk about it. So all I can do is take what's said and articulate as best as I can my understanding of it. Fab Daddy says they do it all the time with Falcon rockets. The Starship is the monster of all rockets. No, the Saturn V was. It's massive, and I believe they're going to catch the first stage with chopsticks. Interesting. It's Me says Trump said he would get released. Trump said he would release the Kennedy files. It never happened. Well, there's one. Well, that's not his fault, and I'll tell you why. I would imagine he fully intended to release all of the Kennedy files, and then a dude in a black suit walked into his office and pushed a file across the page, across the table, the Resolute desk, and on the cover was a picture of Donald Trump. And he opened the file, and inside was a picture of John F. Kennedy and a binder. And in that binder, he said, now this is what's really going to happen. I would imagine that's how it went. And then the next day, he recanted. Christine says, and Mike Flynn's response, you can take it to the bank March 4th. He didn't give a year, but what other time could there be? But he said there's been about 29 bad presidents. One of the 29 had 2 terms. Okay, well, I understand what he's saying there then. He's saying that half the presidents were illegitimate. So he's counting only the good ones. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know what his background is. I kind of know who he is and what he did prior to getting arrested. I kind of know why he got arrested and the propaganda behind that. But I have no idea whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, so I don't know whether to trust his word or not, but we'll just have to wait and see. Lloyd says, well, I need my passport to go to Mars. No, you will need an education or the lack thereof, because let me tell you a little bit about Mars. There's nothing on Mars at all. And if you go, you're going to go to a place where there's nothing. No stores, no roads, no wood, no materials. If you have it, you're going to have to bring it. And if you don't bring it, you're going to have to build it there out of what's there, which is dirt. And you're not going to be very happy. And you probably won't last more than a week before you die of some vapid lung disease, because the dirt there is like shards of razor blades. It'll slice your lungs up if you even inhale any of it. So you probably don't want to go to Mars. I would throw my passport away if that were the case. Bill says, I like Tulsi for the first woman president. If she ain't honest, then none of us are. I agree. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I don't like her politics, mind you, but everybody's entitled to make mistakes, and she's young. So I believe that as she has grown up into the system and saw firsthand what those people are, she did the appropriate thing, which is leave the Democratic Party and join the Republican Party, and we'll see what happens from there. But I do like Tulsi Gabbard. I like that she's a veteran. I like that she's strong-willed. I like that she's tough. I like that she's from Hawaii. And I even like that little silver thing in her hair, even though that's fake, most likely. I would definitely vote for her. But I wouldn't vote for her if the guy who's running was running, because he's already proven what he can do, and I'd like to see more of that. Fab Daddy says, nope. SpaceX Starship is the largest ever built. Okay, I'll look into it. Walter Davis says there were 16 presidents before the USA was incorporated. Every president since is considered fake. Hang on. My chat jumped. When the corporation is divorced, we will return to the Constitution and pick up with our 17th president. Okay, well, there you go. That's what he meant by that. Fab Daddy says, Google it, and I will. It's Me says, even though war has not been declared, it has started, and we're in it. True. There is a hot war going on in Russia right now. And Dana says, quote, they are bought and sold by their mega donors. That is where their real interests lie. It is not the people. It is their interests. I agree with you. I agree with that 100%. However, I would like for you to take note that Donald Trump does not have any mega donors. He does not capitulate to any major CPAC or anything like that. In fact, his first presidency, he paid for himself out of his pocket. He didn't take any money from any major donors. So there's that. I don't know if he did this time around or not. I imagine he did because of all the lawsuits, but I would imagine he lost way more money running for president than he would have if he just went to a beach and retired. Christine says, but maybe they're all wrong and been telling us lies. But if it has to play out to make me a believer, because we've had some shitty controlled by the corporation presidents. We've had some shitty controlled by the corporation presidents. I agree. Sorry, got carried away making snow angels, says John. I hear you, buddy. Fab Daddy says there are samples waiting to get picked up and broken helicopters. What you talking about? It's Me says, Hitler said the defamation of the U.S. will be from within. You know who else said that? Yuri Bezmenov in 1984, no pun intended. But I strongly recommend, if you haven't seen it, to go watch that interview. Yuri Bezmenov, 1984. Go check it out. And listen to what he says about the world. And then pay attention to what's happened over the last 30 years. Amanda says, LOL, John. Lloyd says, I like Tulsi, but I also mean physically. I wish I was in a very physical relationship with her. Oh, now, Lloyd, calm your little self down now. She is a little hottie, but calm down. Dana says, there is no space as told to us by the sci-fi masters and the lying pseudoscientists. Well, I don't know because I haven't been there, but I do know that it ain't what they say it is because it doesn't make any sense. For example, if space is a vacuum, which has been touted for the last 100 years, that it's a vacuum, if that's the case, then how is it that we live in a system that is full of gas and it hasn't equalized yet? Because if you take a tank and put it in water, which is a vacuum underwater, and the tank has air in it, and you push it down to the bottom, guess what will happen? It will implode, meaning it will separate, and all the gas that is in the tank will equalize with the outside area. That's what vacuums do. So either we're in a closed system or space isn't a vacuum. And since you can fly through the atmosphere, we're not in a closed system. Something's wrong with that math. Christine says Donald Trump has mostly civilians in his cabinet, and he is about the people, and we've gotten this far. True. Fab Daddy says, that's not what Captain Kirk believes, Dana. Well, he did fly into space, or orbit anyway. I personally think that orbit is not what you think it is. I think there's science to back this up, but the Earth's atmosphere extends out beyond the moon and may reach out as far as Jupiter. I don't know. Roman, welcome to the show. He says Musk is a major donor. I'm sure he is. He is a billionaire. And he is working with the cabinet. So I would imagine he's donating money somewhere. And what a catch for Donald Trump to get a guy with that much money and influence to work in his cabinet. It's a pretty smart move, if you ask me. Especially if he's got a plan. Fab Daddy says, and he's been in space. Yeah, Captain Kirk has been in orbit. I don't know about space. I don't know if space is a thing or not. I couldn't tell you how far anything is up there, and I don't believe in people that put out numbers like, 4.7 billion light years, something like that. Because first, how do you measure that? And second, how do you measure that? Christine says, and if Donald Trump was so into megalodons, why would he kill foreign lobbyists and then pushed it to then have legislation through others that have pushed for no domestic lobbyists? What are you talking about? What does megalodons have to do with lobbyists? A megalodon is a dinosaur. Amanda says, hi, Roman, welcome. And Bill says, are astronauts still up there? Well, in the space station, from what I understand, yes. But the space station is not as high as you think it is. It's only about 422 miles above the Earth's surface. So if you look at your arm and you see the hair on your arm, where the tip of your hair is about where the space station is compared to the surface of the Earth, which is your arm. It's not very far up at all. If that were to scale, I mean. Or like the skin on an apple. Fab Daddy says, yes, we have people on the International Space Station. And Dana says, the Adelsons gave him $1 million. What a deal. I don't know who those people are. I vaguely remember the name Adelson in something that I've read here or there, but I don't remember who they are. It's Me says, most all left and right officials profit off of the military complex, military-industrial complex. Don't forget Dick Cheney. I haven't. And also, a lot of those people are profiting off of war in the Senate and in the Congress and people around Washington. That's not to say Donald Trump is profiting off of war. In fact, he's not part of that club, which is why they hate him so much. If he was part of that club, believe me, he'd be welcome in open arms. But they're afraid that he's going to have the power to do something to change the status quo, which is why they're trying so hard to stop him. Christine says, and whatever the case is, I don't know if they're still doing it, but that's what they were talking about. But they were so against cancel culture, I bet they didn't want to mention it. What are we talking about, Christine? Dana says, nobody was there. Where? Nobody was where? Lloyd says, very controversial. But we really know who owns banks, media, and politics and power. Well, there are 3 seats of power in the world, and you need to hear me when I'm telling you this because most people haven't made this connection, but there are 3 branches of power in the whole world. That is the church, the bank, and the United States government. Now, prove me wrong. And the other countries are vying for that 3rd spot, which is why we're at war. Christine says, because they would sound like hypocrites. What does technically it's cancel culture and taking down statues of corrupt people because they choose to, but there is a right and there is a wrong. That's true. There is a right and a wrong, but the statues that were taken down were not of corrupt people. They were of people that owned slaves, people that were part of the continental USA, as it were. Christine says, and we have to stand together and determine how to draw these lines properly for our national future, for our nation's future. What lines are we talking about? Draw what lines? Like ending cancel culture? If you're talking about cancel culture and the woke wave that has taken over the world in the last 2 decades, that is coming to an end all by itself because the woke eat themselves and they can't last because they don't propagate. Think about it. Bill says, hot surfer babe is president. I'm down after JD. Right on. I don't know too much about JD Vance. I like him, but before all of this, I never heard of him before, so I don't know anything about that guy, other than he wrote a book that was made into a movie. Dana says, Lloyd Christmas, not controversial. It is common knowledge. Fab Daddy says, atoms have weight. That's why our atmosphere doesn't drift away. Gravity holds it down just like the water. The same gravity that allows butterflies to fly above the water and smoke above the butterflies and clouds above that, but the water stays to the ground. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You ever heard of density and buoyancy? Trust me, I know a thing or two about this subject. Atoms do have weight, atomic weight, which is not even on the scale for things in the real world. By real, I mean not the quantum world. It's Me says, yes, Lloyd, about 10 generational families own it all, and the banks, etc. Whose bank is Trump's money in? I would probably say Switzerland. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. If I were a billionaire, I'd have my money in a Switzerland bank, Swiss bank. John says, I can see the space station by eye. Cool. I didn't say it wasn't there. I just said it was really close. Fab Daddy says, time to send Jake a periodic table. Fab Daddy, If you want to watch my Hyperbole series, I show the periodic table and explain it in exquisite detail. I'm very well aware of the periodic table, and I know a thing or two about science. Remember, I do have an education. Trust me. If you don't trust me, go watch my content, and you'll see that I know what I'm talking about. And Dana says, not $1 million, Jake, but $100 million. The Adelsons are Israelis. Okay. Sorry, I read 3 less zeros. Sorry, but I hear you. And I do remember that name and something that I've read, but like I said, I can't remember who they are. But if they're Israelis, that would make sense since Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu have something going on. I don't know what that something is. I just know that they're friends. But it would make sense. He did get the embassy built and all of that. Lord Christmas says, I'm happy Trump is president now because now it will be okay to be a white heterosexual man again. I don't think Trump controls that. But I do like the idea of the woke culture being questioned. I do like that. I do like the idea that the manosphere is in existence and that there's people, quote unquote, going their own way. And there's more and more people buying into the narrative that masculinity is not necessarily a bad thing like it's been made out to be for the past 2 decades. And slowly but surely we're winning that war back as a culture, not because of Donald Trump. He's just a part of the culture. He's just a little sliver of it. There's a whole thing going on all over the world. And Dana says, Mendelow's periodic table, Fab Daddy. Fab Daddy says, fluid dynamics. And Dana says, periodic. Right on. It's me says, the Rothschilds own the Swiss banks. I'm sure they had something to do with their inception. Christine says, I didn't mean to say megalodon. I said mega donors. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? I'm lost. That makes more sense. Okay. That would be true, but Trump killed foreign lobbyists in America elections, and his work, in turn, caused legislation to stop domestic lobbyists. Okay. Fab Daddy says, I never had that problem. Which problem? Bill says, what do you think about the moon landing, the Apollo program? You want to get into that? Okay. It is an agenda, Dana, the woke movement, and I never said that the woke movement was a culture. I said it affected the culture, our culture, the American culture, and also in other countries. I did say it's a thing going all over the world. It's not just here, which was my point, so I think we're agreeing. Lloyd says, the Licholotopus is an interesting dinosaur. Yep, that's the first lesbian dinosaur from a small island that used to exist around Hawaii called Kamanawanalia. Okay, Bill, the moon landing. For the sake of entertainment, I don't believe a word I'm about to say. There is absolutely no way on God's green earth that in 1969 they sent men to the moon. Didn't happen. What you saw on TV was fake. How do I know that? Because I have eyes and because I understand cinema. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean we didn't go to the moon? No, it does not. I have no idea. I would hazard to guess that we did. But I don't believe you saw it on TV, because if you're aware of this, then you're aware. NASA is not a civilian organization. It's part of the Air Force. It's a military operation. It was put together by the military for the military and operated and ran by generals, which means that a general had to okay the going to the moon because of strategic war type things. That was the idea then. That's the idea now. Now, if you were a general, would you broadcast a strategic location on national television for everyone to see all of the secrets the first time you went there, not knowing what you were going to encounter? No, you would not. If you were a general and you didn't know whether your people would even make it to the moon, would you put it on TV? No, you would not. So my opinion is, which I don't believe because I'm not a moron, nobody went to the moon in 1969 that you saw on television. That's what I think. But I don't think that because I'm not crazy. You follow me? Lloyd says, Lamau. Fab Daddy says, the Tungubosaurus and its offspring. We got you. The Tungubosaurus. I got it. Amanda says, LOL, Fab. And Dana says, the moon landing only exists in people's minds. Lloyd says, LOL, Fab. And Dana says, Hollywood production. Space may be the final destination, but it's filmed in a Hollywood basement. What? Dream of Californication. Sorry. John says, dust didn't float on the moon when they walked, and the flag was blowing in the wind. And also, if I went to the moon, if I was given the opportunity to go to the moon, the very first thing I would do would jump to see how high I could jump. Nobody did that, not once. If you go back and watch the footage, nobody ever jumped more than 18 inches off the ground, which you can do on Earth. Not once. Not ever. Also, listen to them talk. Ask yourself what your reaction would be if you turned around and saw the Earth for the first time in all its glory. What would you do? Be in awe? Tear up? Be speechless? No. Business as usual. Not even a raised voice. Not even a little bit. Some weird stuff going on there. Also, the footage is very 1969. John said, oh, I read that one. Christine says, I was everywhere in my last statement. Let me clear it up. Thank you. Lloyd says, if I were a lesbian for one day, I'd roll with it. I imagine anybody would. Dana says, we are in a war for our minds. I agree with that 100%, Dana. And I strongly recommend that you educate your mind if you don't already, and also learn to control it by not allowing things in that you don't put in it. That's the best way to gatekeep your own mind. Believe what you believe. Trust only what you can see evidence of. It's Me says, I made a discovery about Monster Drink. Oh, yeah? And Dana says, the gloves are off for me. I hear you, girl. And you are a formidable adversary. Amanda says, what's that? It's me. What discovery did you make about Monster Drink? Patty says, hi, Dana. Yes, we are. Hey, Patty. And Dana says, Patty Donahue, heart exclamation point, flower, flower. Now, I get called all kinds of crazy things because of my beliefs about the world. But the problem is all of my beliefs about the world are informed by science. The science that I grew up learning, which got flipped on its head somewhere about halfway through. And then they started making claims that were opposite of what science says. Observable, testable, provable things. Christine says Trump's March 4th inauguration implies that they are throwing away a bunch of presidents, meaning that they are choosing to cancel our history, so it sounds hypocritical to the cancel culture. Gotcha. I haven't heard any of that. Lloyd says, I didn't realize that so many black rappers like sausage. Why does it got to be a racial thing, Lloyd? I like sausage. I neither rap nor am black. Christine says, I believe they're totally doing it still, but they wanted a platform to expose and tell people the truth and not just tear things down without proper understanding and discernment. Well, we're getting pretty close to that time, so we'll see. I don't know. That doesn't sound like anything I've heard, but there's a lot of things going on. I can't keep up with all of it. The moon is a beautiful place to visit, by the way. I recommend everybody go there on vacation. Especially the backside, which is very interesting. It's Me says the claw lines are Hebrew numbers. Numerology, 111. Hebrew numbers are equivalent to 1 equals 6, and they have 3 6s. They have a cross on there. When people drink it, it becomes an upside-down cross. Wow. Have you ever looked at a barcode of any kind? They have 3 6s on them, too. Interesting that the numbers 3, 6, 9, and 12 appear in almost everything, everywhere, all over the world. And they're very significant numbers because this whole place was designed and has a plan to it. So anytime you see a grouping of numbers that fits that category, you could believe that you're looking at a portion of that plan. Interesting enough as that is. Numerology or gematria is a very interesting study. I recommend that you look into it. Fab Daddy says, I don't believe the nuclear bomb videos. That was staged to make enemies fear. I agree with you, Fab Daddy. I don't think they were real either. I'm not entirely convinced that their source material is real. I've never seen evidence of it. And if you go look at, the work of Fat Boy and Little Man, that looks like a lot like a hydrogen bomb. And not so much like a nuclear one, which there is a difference. And yes, I know I say nuclear weird. I'm Southern and I have false teeth. Give me a break. I know what the word means. John says, I do every night. Go to sleep, visit Button Moon. I don't know what that means. Christine says, yep, you can't use foreign lobbyists, and eventually you won't be able to use American lobbyists to get elected. Well, I hope that's true, because lobbyists have caused a lot of trouble in our political sphere. I don't think lobbyists should be allowed to lobby for their causes. And if they do, I don't think they should be allowed to use money to do it. It's the money that's the problem. I don't mind people advocating their beliefs, but I think they should do it with words and not money. And Dana says, Fab Daddy, yes. And Lloyd Christmas smiley faces. And Lloyd says, would you live and date Whoopi Goldberg for a week for $1 million and have the entire experience publicized on TV? Well, $1 million buys a lot of mouthwash. I'm just saying. I can put up with almost anything for a week. Why, you got $1 million? It's Me says, yep. Don't drink it. All the deadly sugar is not healthy. People get hooked. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and it's not on the label for nothing. Well, I agree with you there. It's me, and I don't drink Monster Energy drink. But I do drink sugar, and I don't see anything wrong with sugar. I drink it all my life, and there's nothing wrong with me. So I do think you can overdo anything, though. I don't buy into the whole sugar is poison thing. I do understand that processed sugar might be poison, but cane sugar is not. And that's what I prefer. Fab Daddy says, I couldn't imagine Jake on The Real World. What is that, a TV show? Probably not. Lloyd says, imagine Whoopi telling you you're wrong. Shut up. And then she gets passionate with you all night long. Well, here's the thing. That wouldn't happen because I'm a formidable debater. In fact, some even call me the master debater. And I don't need Whoopi for that, if you know what I'm saying. Aha! MTV, The Real World. It is a TV show. I thought that's what you were talking about. Started all the Big Brothers and such. Oh, I know. Actually, George Orwell started the Big Brother thing, but I digress. I understand what you're saying. And no, I wouldn't be on a show like that. And Lloyd says, the master debater. Yes. I figured you'd like that joke. And nobody does it to me as good as I do. For those of you just playing along, that was a joke, a play on words. Lloyd Christmas is smiling, laughing over there. All right, Lloyd. I'm glad you found a way to interact with the crowd and not be so hyperbolic. I appreciate you. By the way, there are very smart people in this chat, and they know a lot of things. And I thoroughly enjoy building this group of people and being part of that, because I don't know anywhere else you can go to get this kind of conversation and it go where it goes. I'm sure it exists, but I don't know where it's at, other than here. Lloyd says, yep, no proctologist jokes tonight. Thank you, Lloyd. Fab Daddy says, where are we going? Anywhere you want to go. You want to take a right turn into Albuquerque? Let's go. And can we stop? I need the bathroom. Well, you should have thought about that before you got in the car, Fab Daddy. Bill says, I used to be a baiter on a fishing boat, and then I worked my way up to master. Right on. Christine Marshall says, polonium is also radioactive, and you can find polonium in granite rocks. That's polonium halos, and yes, you can, and that's a very good way of dating things. Granite rock and the quartz crystals have polonium halos, that have alpha particles. Most people don't know about polonium. They think it's plutonium. Well, I knew about it, so there you go. What do you drink? Coffee, mostly. Lloyd. Amanda says, this is the only channel I've ever seen the host completely interact with the chatters. Right. That's why I did it that way. I've never seen that either. It's Me says, I enjoy Charles Lawson ministry out of Nashville. All right. I enjoy Untethered Live ministry out of North Carolina. But I'll look into Charles Lawson. I don't know who that is. I don't think I know who that is. I might. It might be one of those guys on TV, but I mean, if that's the case, I know who you're talking about, but I'm not sure. John says, I used to be a masturbator, and now I am a creator. Nice. What do you create? I'm just a dabbler. I dabble. Lloyd says, It's good to cut your nails before you masturbate. Master debate. Yeah. It's me says, yeah, Jake, I enjoy Bible study here too. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I enjoy it also. And I enjoy Chill Stream, and I enjoy Politi-tics, which is basically a chill stream, but with less guitar in it. And for some reason on Saturday nights, I get way more views, and I don't know why. There's a heart for you guys. How's everybody doing? You guys having a good time so far? It's almost over, I promise. We're coming up on, I have to pee 30, so we're getting there. Any last thoughts? Anybody want to talk about what happened in the world this week with the bombings and the runaway trucks? Anybody got any theories? Anybody think they know who these people are? Amanda says, Saturday night, cause everybody's home and partying. Right on. Bill says, you're right. Can't get this anywhere else on the net. Not this kind of personal interaction. Thank you, Bill. God bless you, sir. What I want is a group of people, however big it gets, to be able to talk to each other. And I see a lot of people talking past each other on the internet, but not too many people talking to each other, which is what I'm endeavoring to do. And I hope that it's worth it. Fab Daddy says, I am fresh out of ideas. My light bulb is dimmed. That's terrible, Fab Daddy. They make pills for that, you know. Lloyd says, I'm working. I work from 3 p.m. to 6 a.m., and you make work much more fun. Well, thank you, Lloyd. I appreciate that. It's me says, I'm subbed, but have you had an increase? I ain't looked. That's been pretty steady. I've had a little increase. I'm at about 1.5 or 1.6K, something like that. Some maybe 1.3, something like that. I haven't looked either. It goes up and down, though. And then I'll have a big jump, and then it'll stay there for a while, and then it'll go up and down. Then I'll have a big jump. Seems to be how YouTube works. But mostly, I have a steady crowd that comes almost every show. And that's good for me. I like that, too. I agreed to do this thing because I felt like I was led to do so. And I said when I started it that I don't care if one person watches or 1 million people watch. I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it. So hopefully it's working. Christine says, I said most people don't know about polonium. Jake, you're not most people. That's true. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that vote of confidence. Bill says, it's working, Jake. Thank you, sir. Patty says, Amanda, I am grateful it's that type of chat because my volume is jacked up. And so are my buds. And I'm reading the chat and trying. I hear you. Fab Daddy says, let me brew some coffee to recharge the lines. Right on. I'm with you, Fab Daddy, right here. And Amanda says, aw, Patty, you need a Bluetooth speaker. Lloyd says, you look like the kind of guy that I can drink Coors, banquets, and eat off the grill and forget the plates. I am that kind of guy, except I don't drink beer. The Origin says, it is Politi-tics. Yes, it is, The Origin. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir? Or ma'am, or whoever you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Bill says, peace, y'all. Later. Bill, thank you for coming. God bless you. Patty says, I have 3 at home. I am not at home. Right on. And Amanda says, hi, The Origin. Welcome. And good night, Bill. It's me says, Jesus accepts hot or cold, but lukewarm? No, you can't do lukewarm. I try not to be lukewarm. Amanda says, well, dang, Patty. Nope, I'm definitely not lukewarm, it's me. I do what I do, and I make no bones about it. I ain't trying to be something I'm not, and I ain't hiding nothing from nobody. If you can't accept me for what I am, you're in the wrong place, because I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I didn't make me, but I try to perfect the use of me. Fab Daddy says, I drink the beer. I'll give you the sarsaparilla. I could drink sarsaparilla. I have drank sarsaparilla, like real sarsaparilla. Like made with sassafras. It's me says, I didn't say you. Oh, I know. I know, implied or not. I know that's not what you were saying. Lloyd Christmas says, do you wear a watch? No, sir. And if so, which one do you wear the most? I don't wear a watch. I have a phone. It's got the time on it. It's good enough for me. The Origin says, I am a Hyperborean, first and foremost. I don't know what that means. Just surfing the tube for interesting streams. Well, I hope you found one, The Origin. I don't know what Hyperborean is in a reference to, but I like it. I am a Hyperborean. Most of the time. Sometimes I'm serious. Which I recommend you watch my show, Hyperbole, if you like that sort of thing. Yes, it's a play on words, and yes, I know the real way to say that word. Fab Daddy says, forget the sarsaparilla. You get the cheap Mountain Dew. Hey, now you're talking my language. Can't see it. Green. Lord Christmas says, how old are you, and how old do you feel? 4,727 years old. And I just turned 50. Happy? How old are you? I've lived a long time, though. I've been on my own since I was 11 years old, and I'm still out there, so whatever. By the time most people are starting their lives, I had already lived one. That'll tell you anything. Lloyd says, I'm 45, but I'm very immature. Right on. I have moments. Oh, Hyperboreans are mythical people. Gotcha. Lloyd says, I have ADHD. I have ACDC. Dana says, I feel 100 years old at least, right? Me too. A couple. I've been doing the studying thing for so long, I've seen some stuff that I really wish I hadn't learned. But here I am. Hyperborean. Is that a... That sounds like I do know what that is. That's from a book, is it not? They made a TV show about it? Or tried to? I don't know if it ever got off the ground. I saw something about it. It seemed like I might be getting the wrong word there, but I think that's what it is. Is this a Christian stream in the sense of a historical Jesus Christ and the Bible is the infallible word? In that sense, yes. I am a Christian. This is not a Christian show. This is a political show. But on Sundays and Mondays, I do Bible study. That is my ministry, and we do read the Bible. We do believe that the Bible is true, and we do try to understand what it says. That being said, it ain't the kind of place that's going to try to pigeonhole you or make you feel guilty because of whatever you believe, or I'm not judgy, I'm not preachy, I'm not Bible thumpery. I'm not even going to pray for you unless you ask me to. Amanda says it's Greek. Yes, I got the Greek reference. Patty says, read something today interesting. Fear and faith both demand in something you cannot see. You choose. Yes, that is interesting. Lloyd says, in your opinion, name a famous woman you'd marry, another you'd F, and another you'd kill. You want to play marry, screw, kill. Okay. Look at me very closely. Do you see stupid written on my forehead? I'm not falling into that trap. I will keep my desires to myself. Thank you very much. The Origin says Hyperboreans are not mystical maybe. We are a spiritual race. We believe in a spiritual race and a spiritual war. Gotcha. Then that's not the thing I was thinking about. Christine says Hyperborea, Mount Meru. You're in the right place. You won't be that very long if you stay around here. I'll enlighten you. It's Me says I played at a Pentecostal church announcing the song Victory in Jesus is known to chase demons away. Well, guess what? 3 people left angry, and the pastor said he noticed it and then thanked me at the, Very nice. It's me. Dana says Hyperborean myth. It's just a myth. So mystical, however you want to look at it. It's Me says it was New Year's Eve, 10 minutes before midnight, and then we prayed the new year in. Well, thank you, It's Me. Beautiful. Christine says, that's like saying you believe in Lemuria. I don't know what that is either. The Origin says Mount Meru. Haha, not even close. We are not a New Age concept. Got it. Well, I am a Christian, and I believe in Christ. That's why I'm a Christian. But I'm not a member of any group, organization, cult, or religion. In fact, I teach against that because I think that's the problem. I think all religions, cults, groups, and gatherings are people's opinions pushed on as many people as they can get. Some are more creative and effective than others. But they're all slivers of the truth. If you want to see the truth, the reality of the world we live in, you got to look beyond that. And that's what I endeavor to do. No, believing in Lemuria is not like believing in the historical Jesus, the Origin, because Jesus is historical. Every historian worth his salt will agree to that. There's plenty of evidence of his existence. And what he says happened, as far as anybody can tell. That being said, it's a historical document, so you're going to have to take it at its word. Amanda says Hyperboreans were a mythical people who lived in a northern paradise beyond the reach of Boreas, whatever that is, the Greek god of the north wind. The name Hyperborean comes from the Greek word hyper something. Christine says, first they said Atlantis, and then they said Lemuria, and then they said they fought. Total counterfeit of history. I hear you. Paladins, isn't that a Dungeons and Dragons thing? Amanda says, meaning above and Boreas, the Hyperboreans were said to live in the land of perpetual sunshine and abundance, and were closely associated with the worship of Apollo and Artemis, which are false deities, by the way. The Origin says, ha, 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 ha. Lloyd says, Jake, you are 100% correct, in my opinion. Thank you, Lloyd. Origin says, evidence, please. Well, what kind of evidence do you want? Do you want to go all the way back to Antioch at the inception of the Bible? Do you want to go through the translations? I did a show on that somewhere. You can find it in my catalog of videos of over 1,000 videos where I delve into the evidence. So, go check it out. I've already made this case and won. So, if you want to know the evidence, watch my show. I'll prove it to you every week. It's Me says, who is the blonde lady? Paula White, pastor on Trump's evangelical team. I don't know. The Origin says, the Bible, a historical document. Are you sure about that? I'm positive about that. It is the oldest historical document that we have context to. And there's more than enough evidence to back that up. For example, The Iliad, or Homer's Iliad, is a historical document, and we have 3 copies of that. But we have thousands of copies from many sources of every book of the Bible. And it is absolutely provable. It's not just a document, by the way, the origin. It is a first document. If you know anything about law, you know that's the kind of document that you can take to court and prove a case based on. Christine says, the Bible is a historical document. It is a philosophy. It is a science book. It is everything. It is a handbook to the life you live. I assure you of that. It has the answers to every question in it. If you can ask it, you can find an answer in the Bible. Lloyd says, if it were death by electric chair, tell us what your last meal would be. Dude, what's the matter with you? It's obvious. Fried chicken and cornbread. Come on. Some purple whole peas and some mashed potatoes and gravy and a sliced tomato. Glass of iced tea. Sweet tea, that is. Come on. If you study epistemology, ontology, and axiology, I'm not sure that's a word, you will come to the conclusion that all of it is nihilist. All of what? No way can any of this or scientism map out all knowledge, but yet we have the manual. I think you mean all of everything else is nihilistic. Yes, I agree with that. It's Me says, she spoke a sermon, okay, to look at porn to keep marriage lively. Did she now? Are you talking about the woman that you said that was on Trump's thing? No, it's not okay to look at porn because it'll pervert your mind. It is the upside down of sensuality. That's why it doesn't look real, because it's not. Watching porn will poison your mind. Get your mind out of that part of the computer and use the computer for what its intention was, to be a tool to find knowledge. The origin says, yes. What did Marcion or Marcion say about the historical Jesus? I don't know. You tell me. I know what everybody else said about him, such as Josephus, such as Pontius Pilate, such as any historian that you could name. Christine says, the Word of God, who has mapped out the entire mind. So we actually have objective truth in God's Word. Anybody who is against the Christology of Jesus, the Christ who is God, are all nihilists. Christology, I like your use of words there. Never looked at it like that. But you are correct, and I have evidence that all questions can be asked and answered by the Bible. So if you want to know that, just go back and watch my videos. Lloyd says, the Bible is the oldest book. I saw it when I was a kid from that show, The Reading Rainbow. Yes, well, it is the oldest book in its entirety. It's actually not a book. It's actually a library of books. There's 66 books there. There used to be more, but it was edited at a particular point in time by a particular group of people to make canon so that all people had the same Bible, because before that it was kind of willy-nilly, however you wanted to go about it. But the oldest book of those 66 books is the book of Job. It's been around for as long as anybody can imagine. And the book of Genesis claims to be older than that, but we have no evidence of that. We just know when we found it, so. Origin says, what is the oldest tangible primary source of the Bible? Tangible would be Antioch. Because before that, it was just a subset of scrolls that a lot of people had, and some of it was still being written. That being said, every single book of the Bible begins with the author of the book. So I would say those are tangible sources, first-hand accounts, however you want to look at it. Fab Daddy says, yummy coffee. The Origin says, haha, unfamiliar with axiology. No, I'm unfamiliar with your use of that word. Amanda says, axiology is a philosophical study of value, including what is valuable, why, and how value is determined. The word comes from the Greek word axios, which I am familiar with, and worthy, and logos, which I am familiar with, meaning science. Axios means worthy, logos means science. It's axiomatic. I'm not entirely sure the word axiology is a thing, and if it is, that's probably just people trying to be smarter than they are. But I do know what an axios is, and I do know what the logos is, both figuratively and literally. So I'm not sure I understand your question. The Origin says Marcion or Marcion, however you want to pronounce it, was the earliest compiler of the New Testament. Shaking my head. I didn't say I knew who compiled it. I said I knew who wrote it. Be careful how you choose to argue with me because I'm very literal when it comes to the Bible. Christine says Marcion, or Marcion, however you want to say it, was a fool, just like the Jews who refused Jesus. Well, there you go. It's probably why I haven't heard of him. I don't tend to follow people that don't know what they're talking about. The Origin says, ha ha ha, reading Rainbow. Nice. Fab Daddy says, the pathology of all the ologies makes the brain wheeze and wheeze. Right on. Nice words. Made up as they may be. The Origin says, we do not have one source text of any book of the Bible. That's not true, The Origin. You were incorrect, sir. I'll point out the most recent one, the Dead Sea Scrolls, which has a copper plate of the book of Isaiah that is word for word the same book that is in the Bible. So you're wrong. It's Me says, porn opens another door to demonic oppression. Be careful, folks. I'm not judging, though pharmakia is a crock meant not to heal. Yes, pharmakia being the word that we use to get the word pharmacy from, or pharmacist, which means drug pusher. But that has nothing to do with porn. Unless you like to get high and watch porn, then yeah. The Origin says, not even the Gospels. Most historians agree on this. Which ones? Because you're wrong. As a historian, I agree with it, so you're incorrect. The Origin says, no, the books do not start with the authors. It starts with according to said preponderer. Really? So, you were incorrect there also. I think you need to get a Bible and actually read it. And no, you're incorrect again. Socrates has nothing to do with the Bible. Mr. P, what's up, buddy? He says, hi, y'all. I missed the whole show for no reason. I tried searching it all evening and suddenly pops up in notifications. Amanda says, hi. And she says, oh, no, Mr. P, well, dang, it's been a great conversation. Well, look, you can go to this channel by going to Untethered Live on YouTube. You don't have to wait for it to pop up in your notifications. You can go right to my channel. The Origin says, prove that I am incorrect. I don't need to because I'm not arguing with you and I have nothing to prove to you. If you don't want to hear me, that's fine. Leave. If you want to have an actual conversation, stay. But I'm not going to get into this. Prove me wrong. Because I know what I know. I've actually got the study behind me to prove it and the paperwork to say that I know what I'm talking about. So why would I need to prove to a person I don't know what I'm saying is correct? There's over 1,000 videos that I've done. Go find somewhere where I've made a mistake. The preponderance is on you. The onus is on you, not me. The Dead Sea Scrolls are not before Common Era. Well, see, there's your mistake. The earliest scroll is from the 3rd century AD, according to Common Era, which is incorrect dating. John says, hey, Mr. P, how you doing? Lloyd Christmas says, what does an AI robot do on one-night stands? Answer, nuts and bolts. Right on. It's Me says, don't forget our bet. The Detroit Lions are going to the Super Bowl. I didn't say when, just get there. Well, if they go, let me know, and I'll pay up. Dana says, the book of Job is absolutely unique, and when I read it, I feel like it is separate from all the other scriptures. I love to read the book of Job often. It is a great book, and it is separate from all the rest of them. All the books are separate from each other. Most of those books were written by people that never met each other, did not belong to the same religion, in some cases didn't speak the same language, and in all cases had no idea that anybody other than who they were writing to would ever read it. And somehow they all survived and got compiled into a book, which every one of them refers back to the other one, as if they all knew each other. That ought to tell you something. The origin. As a person who has studied the Bible for 40 years, in depth, in more than one language, I don't need to open the Bible. I know Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and all the rest of them. And I don't need some yahoo that just pops into my chat for the first night trying to prove me wrong because he thinks he knows a thing or two. You do not. You will not win this argument, so I will not indulge it. John says, YouTube playing up all day. Okay. It's Me says, agreed, Dana. It can happen to all believers. Yes, it can. The writers of the New Testament were Platonists, which is why they use Platonic terminology. You are new to this. Thanks, though. The origin. You believe what you want to believe. Have a nice day. Fab Daddy says, hey, can we segue off the Bible? Save it for Sunday and Monday. Hey, I'm not the one that started this conversation. Mr. P says, I'm fine. One night off and I missed the show. I was trying to search the show. My YouTube is weird. I swear they blocked me from doing things on here. That is possible. The Dead Sea Scrolls are Dead Sea Scrolls because that's where they were found. The book of Isaiah is not post-historical Jesus, which was the actual Jesus, by the way. So why not just say Jesus instead of historical Jesus? Because you make yourself sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Second of all, the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in a cave. Nobody knows when they were put there. Nobody cares. You can't date a jar and you can't date parchment. So go away. Fab Daddy says, Jake, who steals one of my socks from the washing machine? Is it you? If I knew where your washing machine was, it could be. Job is the oldest book of the Bible. I said that. Christine says, I did a live video last month or so, And I talked in depth about epistemology, ontology, and axiology, and scientism. The true map of all knowledge is the blueprint called the Word of God. No other book better. I agree with that. And Amanda says, the dust bunnies, Fab Daddy. The dust bunnies take your socks. And there's a little man that lives in your belly button that collects that lint. Maybe one day you'll get a new sock. Fab Daddy says, LOL, my dust bunnies look like tarantulas. Scary. Amanda says, LOL, Fab, get a sock wash bag. That's a bag that you put all your socks in and throw them in the wash machine. That way you don't lose any. Smart. A woman designed that. I didn't miss it, the origin. I didn't miss it. According to means written by or dictated by. That's what that word means. Mr. P says, some Yahoo, Jake, you crack me up. Thank you. It's me says, ha, LOL, Amanda. And John says, double tap the screen, everybody, and subscribe and share, and thank you. Thank you, John. Bill Bennett says, it's faith. Try a little harder, brother. Right on. Mr. P says, I believe the Dead Sea Scrolls were inscribed on copper or something metal. Yes. One of them. Not all of them. Some of them were on parchment, but the book of Isaiah was inscrolled in copper, which is a very interesting thing to scribe something on, because it'll last a long time, which was the idea, I think. Amanda says, thanks, John. Christine says, making a neologism in your day, does it mean anything the word logos means, the mind of God? So he was saying when he made the word logos means God, mindset, his thought process, his touch. The word logos does mean those things in a roundabout way, and it is used to describe what God is. So if you take the scripture, in the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was with God. If you take that and break it down into its original parts, you'll see that it's talking about the ideas of God. So that's the idea. Nate hits me with a $10 super chat, and he says, hey, boss man, sorry I missed most of the show. Good to be with the Untethered Live family when I can. Got to go back to go. I think that's what that means. Or to give back to Gormagander might be what that means. I don't know. What does TGBTG stand for? Interesting. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate the super chat. You can always rewind and listen to the conversation. It's quite nice. Dana says, I believe your chat's about to jump. Here we go. Dana says, I believe the Dead Sea Scrolls supposedly found in Qumran is a forgery. Well, it's not. You are incorrect. It might be copied, but it's not a forgery, because the book of Isaiah is word for word the book that's in the Bible. And you can trace that back through the translations all the way back to Antioch when it was originally put together. That being said, and I own the Dead Sea Scrolls, a copy of them, most of them are incomplete to the point where it's hard to read. Some of them are very clear and very complete. Mr. P says, of course, P. A woman designed that, LOL. Well, think about it. Would a man have ever thought to put all of his socks in a bag and then throw the bag in the washing machine? No, he would not. That's why we lose socks. Guys. Fab Daddy says, I can't be bothered to bag my socks. It's a chore just to get them in the washer. See? It's me says, have a restful night, everyone. It's me. God bless. Come back and see us tomorrow night. Amanda says, LOL, geez, Fab. And by the way, the origin, if you want an education, come back tomorrow night when I'm actually talking about the Bible, and we'll have that on my mind, and I can actually delve into your questions more thoroughly. This is a political night, so we should be talking about politics. Although, if you ask a question, I will try to answer it. Amanda says, LOL, geez, Fab, slacker. And Nate, thanks. Yes, thank you, Nate. Walter says, I'm home. Hi, all. I'm glad you're home safe, Walter. Nate says, to God be the glory. Amen, Nate. Mr. P says, thanks, Nate. What is TGBTG, says Fab Daddy. I don't know. I think he wrote that just to see what I would make up to go with it. Like, that girl been too grateful. Or, whatever. Amanda says, I'm glad you made it home safe, Walter. And John says, hi, Nate, thanks. 2 thumbs up. Amanda's going to retract the messages to mess with me. John says, hi, Walter, thumbs up. And Christine says, hi, Walter. Linda Davis says, Amanda, I have to fight the dog off of him to get to him when he finally gets home. We all miss him. Aw. Amanda says, good night, it's me. And Nate says, hey, Amanda. Hey, Mr. P. Hey, John. Good to be with you all, even for a short time. Right on. I'm glad you're here, Nate. Fab Daddy says, I don't separate my clothes by color either, or put stain remover. I am a super slacker. Well, I can't say that I separate my clothes by color, but if they do need something to be washed in, I will put that on. Amanda says, LOL, I bet, Linda. And John says, don't forget to watch Jake's music videos. Great music. Thank you, John. Yes, please do become a member and go check it out. Amanda says, TGBTG. To God be the glory. There you go. To God be the glory. And Dana says, I know for certain they lie to us about everything, especially history. You are correct. Fab Daddy says, to God be the glory. Thank you. Nate says, to God be the glory. LOL, but I like your takes on it. Haha. Walter says, sad part of the Dead Sea Scrolls story is that before the Europeans hit the area buying antiquities, local Bedouin herdsmen would use them to light fires when in the area. True. So there probably were more of them at one time than there are now. That's the sad truth about a lot of things in history, by the way. A lot of things have been either eschewed or destroyed. For example, in the 20s, in the early teens in the 20s, there was this mad rush of people, adventurers and such, going to Egypt, taking anything they could get their hands on and putting them in private collections and selling them around the world. And now we've got Egyptian artifacts all over the place and have no idea where they originally came from or what their original contexts were. So we have to make it up, which is what Egyptology is, which is why it sounds like a load of hogwash, because it is. Because they have no way of knowing what all that stuff really meant because it was tampered with. Now, if you look at what happened in the early 1900s, and if you look at what happened in the 90s, when the military went over into Iraq, and you saw what was going on there, a lot of those artifacts and locations of antiquity were just utterly destroyed, wiped off the face of the planet. We have no idea what was there. Some of them we have pictures of, so we can refer back to the pictures, but some of them we never got to see. That's a travesty. That is the worst kind of mismanagement that you could imagine. And because of that, we likely will never actually know the true history of this world because most of it's been wiped away. I really wish it wasn't like that. Christine says, yep, history is just a sliver of the truth, and that sliver of truth is a needle in a haystack, and we only know a sliver of history. I agree with that. And what we are taught in schools most certainly is not the complete story, if it's even the correct one. Walter says, I separate really dirty and greasy clothes from not so dirty clothes. Me too. And Walter says, mummy unwrapping parties. Yep, they had those too. And utterly destroying all of the preserving that was done. Fab Daddy says, been there, Walter. Work clothes do get separated. Right on. What it is, he says, politics is not what seems to be. Too much shadiness. It played a part in a lot of bullshit, like this woke bullshit. It's funny that people are backpedaling from woke and alphabet people isms. Yep. It only took 2 decades to get there. So hopefully in the next decade we can get rid of all that nonsense. Amanda says, hi, what it is. And what it is says, hello, Amanda. And Walter says, the Mayan library got burned by the Spanish. Big loss there on their part. Yeah, and the Library of Alexandria got burned down as well, and we don't have any idea what kind of history and information and knowledge we lost in that fire, because according to antiquity, the Library of Alexandria was quite a magnificent library. They literally took books from people that came into the port and made copies of them and then gave them back. So they had knowledge from all over the world in the Library of Alexandria, and it's all gone. And you can't get that back. Who knows what they knew or what they had access to know and just never got around to reading, you know. Who knows? Fab Daddy says, water and sand wiped out large sections of history, literally. Yes, that too. And Walter says, the Library of Alexandria, the Chinese, under Chairman Mao, removed all 5,000 years of written history. Well, not the Library of Alexandria, because it burned to the ground in ancient times. So if they rebuilt it, then yes. But that wasn't the first Library of Alexandria. Because that burnt down when the statue was still standing. And if you don't know which statue I'm referring to, it is the Colossus of Rhodes. All right. It is 10:30, and I'm exhausted, so I'm going to go to bed now. I will see you guys tomorrow night for some Bible study. Come join me at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live for a good foray into some new books. So come check it out, and we'll see you then. 2 different things, says Walter. Probably, yeah. Yeah, what I'm talking about is the ancient one. John says, good night, everybody. Fab Daddy says, so we learned that you don't store your books in one place only. Correct. Good night. Have a great one, Jake. Thank you. You too, Christine. Linda says, good night, all. Amanda says, good night. See y'all all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live. It's a Bible study, heart. Right on. Have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. I hope that you have a great evening. Enjoy your sleep. Enjoy your day tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And Dana says, heart. Christine says, bye, y'all. Dana, heart back at you. Thank you for the conversation. 2 and 5, says Fab Daddy. And Nate says, good night, Untethered Live family. Have a good night, boss man. I'm glad to make a few minutes with you. I'm glad you came too. And thank you for the super chat. All right. See you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for watching.